I never planned to revolutionize the gaming industry. At least that's what I told myself while coding in my converted garage at 3 a.m., surrounded by empty coffee cups and dreams bigger than my bank account. But my cousin Michael never let me forget what he thought of my career choice. "Still playing with your little phone games, Lisa?" He'd smirk at every family gathering, adjusting his expensive suit. "You know, there's always a junior position available at my investment firm. Something more professional." My name is Lisa Chen, and 3 years ago, I left my prestigious position as an AI researcher at a major tech company to start quantum games. Everyone thought I was crazy, a single woman in her 30s, walking away from a six-figure salary to make mobile games. My family held an intervention. "This is career suicide," Michael declared, pacing my parents' living room. "The gaming industry is oversaturated. You'll be bankrupt in 6 months." What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that I wasn't just making games. I was building something that would change how games were made forever. It started during my years researching artificial intelligence. I discovered a way to create adaptive gaming environments that learned from player behavior in real time. Not just simple pattern recognition, but deep intuitive learning that could generate entire worlds and storylines on the fly. The mobile games? They were just a test bed, a way to gather data and refine my AI engine without drawing attention. Simple puzzle games and casual adventures that secretly housed the most sophisticated gaming AI ever developed. My parents' garage became my development lab. Every night after my contract work, yes, I still had to pay bills, I refined my engine. The early months were brutal. My savings dwindled, and Michael never missed a chance to remind me how foolish I was. Another failure to launch. He asked at Thanksgiving dinner, scrolling through my company's game listings. Candy Crush must be shaking in their boots. I forced a smile and passed the cranberry sauce. Let him think I was just another indie developer struggling to compete. The truth was, my simple games were gathering millions of data points, teaching my AI how players think, how they learn, how they play. The breakthrough came 6 months ago. My latest game, Dream Maze, looked like a simple puzzle solver on the surface. But underneath, it was running the first public test of my fully realized AI engine. The game didn't just adapt to players. It created unique, personalized experiences for each person. The results were unprecedented. Players couldn't put it down, but not because it was addictive, because it was personally meaningful to each of them. The game evolved with them, creating challenges that perfectly matched their skill level and learning style. Downloads started small but grew exponentially. Gaming blogs couldn't explain why this simple-looking mobile game was generating such intense player loyalty. Industry analysts were baffled by the retention rates. That's when the first email arrived from Sony's gaming division. I nearly deleted it, thinking it was spam. But something made me look closer. They wanted to discuss potential collaboration opportunities. I agreed to a preliminary meeting, expecting nothing more than a courtesy conversation. Instead, I found myself sitting across from their top technical directors as they tried to understand how my simple mobile game was outperforming their AAA titles in player engagement. "We've never seen anything like these metrics," their lead analyst said, spreading charts across the conference table. "Players aren't just sticking with the game, they're having completely different experiences. It's like each person is playing a unique game." I sat quietly, letting them work it out. One of the technical directors kept staring at my game's code structure, his eyes getting wider. "This architecture," he finally said. "It's not just a game engine, is it?" I smiled. "No, it's not." The meeting lasted 6 hours. By the end, they wanted to schedule a formal presentation with their executive team. But I had one condition. "The presentation happens at my family's investment firm," I said. "My cousin's been very interested in my company's progress. I'd like him to be there." They agreed, probably thinking it was just an odd venue request. They didn't understand that I'd been planning this moment for 3 years. The day of the presentation, Michael was in his element, holding court in the firm's main conference room. He'd invited several of his fellow partners, all eager to see his struggling cousin's little mobile game company try to pitch to a major corporation. "Lisa, darling," he said as I set up my laptop, "are you sure you wouldn't rather do this somewhere more appropriate? Perhaps a coffee shop?" The room filled with muffled laughter. I caught snippets of their whispered comments. "Can't believe Sony's wasting their time. Probably just a courtesy meeting. Did you see their games? My kid makes better stuff in Roblox." I was about to respond when the door opened. Marcus Tanaka, Sony's head of gaming, walked in with his executive team. Michael's smirk froze as he recognized one of the most powerful figures in the gaming industry. "Mrs. Chen," Marcus said warmly, "thank you for agreeing to this meeting. Though I must admit, we're usually the ones hosting potential acquisitions." The word acquisitions silenced the room. Michael's face went through several interesting color changes. I connected my laptop to the projector, pulled up my presentation, and took a deep breath. 3 years of work, of being underestimated and dismissed, had led to this moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, "let me show you the future of gaming." But what happened next would exceed even my wildest expectations. I clicked to the first slide, showing a simple graph of player engagement metrics. The room settled in, clearly expecting a standard mobile gaming presentation. "Dream Maze appears to be a simple puzzle game," I began. "But what players don't realize is that no two people are playing the same game." I pulled up the live player data. Right now, 2.3 million people are playing. Each of them is experiencing a completely unique game world, generated in real time by what I call the quantum engine. Marcus Tanaka leaned forward. "Show them the neural mapping, Lisa." I nodded, switching to a visualization of the AI's learning patterns. Complex webs of data streams flowed across the screen, each representing thousands of real-time decisions being made by the engine. "The quantum engine doesn't just adapt difficulty levels," I explained. "It learns how each player thinks, what motivates them, what challenges them. It creates personalized narrative arcs, custom puzzle sequences, even unique character interactions." One of Michael's partners snorted. "Sounds like basic algorithm adjustment. Every game does that." I smiled. "Let's test that theory." I pulled up the live development console. "Would anyone like to try the game?" Michael raised his hand, smirking. "I'll try my cousin's little phone game." "Perfect." I handed him my tablet. "Start playing. Everyone else, watch the screens." As Michael started the game, the neural mapping display erupted with activity. Within seconds, the engine had analyzed his playing style, his decision-making patterns, his responses to different types of challenges. "The engine is now building a psychological profile," I explained. "Notice how it's generating puzzles that appeal to Michael's competitive nature, his preference for financial risk-reward scenarios." Sony's technical director whistled softly. "It's literally building a game around his personality in real time." Michael looked up from the tablet, his smirk fading. The puzzle he was solving involved merging investment portfolios to maximize returns. Exactly the kind of challenge that would appeal to him. "This is impossible," he muttered. "How did it know?" "Because that's what the quantum engine does," I said. "It doesn't just learn patterns, it understands people. Every player gets a completely unique game, perfectly tailored to their interests, skills, and psychological profile." Marcus Tanaka stood up, "And that's just the beginning. Lisa, show them the MNO prototype." I switched to a new demo. This is what happens when we apply the quantum engine to a massive multiplayer environment. The screens filled with footage from a fantasy world where every NPC, non-player character, was powered by the engine. Characters developed unique personalities based on their interactions with players. Cities evolved based on player behavior. The entire world learned and adapted in real time. Imagine an online game where every player's actions truly matter. I continued. where the world evolves naturally based on collective player behavior, where every NPC is as complex as a real person, with memories, relationships, and genuine character development. The room had gone completely silent. Even Michael was staring at the screens in disbelief. "We've been testing this technology for 3 years," I revealed. "Those simple mobile games? They were gathering data, teaching the AI how people play, how they think, how they create stories. Dream Maze was just the first public demonstration of what the engine can do." Marcus Tanaka took over. "When we first saw the engagement metrics from Dream Maze, we couldn't believe them. Players weren't just playing the game, they were having deeply personal experiences. The retention rates were unprecedented." He opened his briefcase and pulled out a document. "That's why we're here. Sony is prepared to offer $100 million for quantum games and the underlying technology, plus ongoing royalties and a position as head of AI development for our gaming division." Michael's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. $100 million? "Actually," Marcus continued, "after seeing the M&O prototype, we're revising that offer upward. Substantially." He slid a new document across the table. My eyes widened at the number. $250 million, plus 5% of all future revenues from games using a quantum engine. Michael grabbed the paper, his hands shaking slightly. "This is impossible. Lisa makes foam games in our parents' garage." "No," Marcus corrected him. "Lisa built an artificial intelligence engine that could revolutionize not just gaming, but interactive entertainment as we know it. The foam games were just a cover for testing the technology." I took back the offer document. "Those simple games you mocked, they've been gathering millions of data points, teaching my AI how people think, play, and learn. Every dismissive comment, every mockery of my little foam games just gave me more time to perfect the technology without anyone realizing what I was really building." The next hour was a blur of technical discussions, legal terminology, and increasingly pale faces among Michael's investment partners. They had just watched a failed startup transform into a $250 million acquisition right in their conference room. As the Sony team packed up, Marcus turned to Michael. "You know, we usually prefer to do these meetings at our corporate offices, but Lisa insisted on presenting here. Now I understand why." Michael couldn't meet his eyes. 3 years of mockery and condescension were crashing down around him. The aftermath was both swift and satisfying. News of the acquisition rocked the gaming industry. The same investment partners who had laughed at my little phone games were now desperately trying to get meetings with me to discuss potential opportunities. I kept the garage office, converting it into a private development lab for pushing the quantum engine even further. Sony's resources and reach have allowed me to expand the technology in ways I never could have as an indie developer. Dream Maze has become a case study in AI gaming development. The M&O version, now called Living Worlds, is revolutionizing how people think about online gaming. Every player truly is experiencing their own unique story, shaped by their choices, personality, and playstyle. Michael? He sent me a long email apologizing for his behavior over the years. He even asked if I'd be interested in speaking at his firm's technology investment seminar. I declined politely, explaining that I was too busy with my new role leading Sony's AI gaming division. Last week, I received an interesting email. A young woman working from her garage had developed a unique approach to quantum computing. Her family thinks she's wasting her time with hobby programming. She asked for advice. I thought about my own journey, about the power of being underestimated, about the satisfaction of proving everyone wrong. I hired her on the spot for my advanced development team. The garage where I built the quantum engine is now a museum piece. Sony recreated it exactly for their corporate headquarters. But I kept one thing, the whiteboard where I wrote my daily reminders. It still has the same message I wrote on day one. Let them think you're making simple games. Let them mock your dreams. Let them underestimate you. Because sometimes the best revolution is the one nobody sees coming. The gaming industry will never be the same. Neither will my family dynamics. At the last gathering, Michael's son showed me his own game design projects. Michael stood nearby, quietly supportive, having learned an expensive lesson about judging others' dreams. As for me, I'm still making games. They're just not as simple as everyone thought. The quantum engine continues to evolve, learning and growing just like its creator. And every time someone underestimates a developer working from their garage, I smile, knowing that the next revolution might be hiding in plain sight, disguised as a little phone game. Because sometimes the biggest dreams come from the smallest garages, and sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's proving yourself right.